Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Overnight we received a bit of good news about Alliance Quest modifiers, and they are getting changed quite significantly. So we can see that the biggest change is gonna happen to Societ Doom, which is also probably the most problematic modifier that we currently have to face, because quite few of the requirements are kind of unrealistic. So first and foremost, they are changing heal block to 75% Spectre. This will not reverse healing, but will reduce it. And this, first and foremost, is quite a bit more interesting, because leaving a 25% heal option from willpower, from the Spectre debuff itself, not to mention from the rest of them, because you can get additional couple before it really starts interfering with your fight. There might be some potential for willpower healing, even though it's just going to be a 25% potency, but it could possibly actually help out a bit, if you will, in certain scenarios. So that is a decent change for sure. We'll see how that works out. Now, more importantly, the timers are being changed from 17 seconds to 45 seconds, which is nearly 3 times as long. So that will be way less stressful to actually find time to either throw those special attacks or manage the intercept, so on and so forth. So I don't know, I think 30 seconds already would have been fine, but sure, we'll take 45. Why not, I guess, to be fair. And also change throw special to use a bar power, which is what it should have been in the first place, especially so if you have 2 of them, one you can throw level 2 and you're going to be done. So that also kind of like sorts that problem out as well, especially because a single level 2, 45 seconds in a fight, and then gets rid of both of those missions. I think that is way more doable, and that is a decent alteration on the kind of like requirement in itself. And change to Fantastic Four clause to have 50% potency, only getting 1 prompt if you have Fantastic Four members on your team, and that's fair enough as well. I don't think all of a sudden Fantastic Four are going to be like frequently and commonly brought in AQ, especially after this change. Now they are changing also Cascading Failure, where they're taking away the heal block and putting Spectre on it, which again is a lot more doable, because if you get that accidental heal block, and you do like all the time with any random champion, even when you, I don't know, go to throw heavy attack, if your heavy attack has 3 parts, 2 of them crit, that's it, that Spectre is there. We'll need to see how it works out with suicides, but it's still definitely a lot better. And power to cover is effectively just flat out being nerfed down, so opponents will gain 3 times a less power increase per hit, so it's going to go from 1.5% to 0.5%, and the max cap is going to be at a 50% power rate increase and reduction of cost on special attacks instead of 75%. So again, that will make that node much less savage, even though, like, obviously it was a bad design, obviously it was a bad node, but I think that Societ the Doom is universally admitted as the one that was coming out with a WTF vibe. And we also have some more changes. Well, just the one really, and that is the fact that they're going to be swapping out that Hulkbuster on Acid Wash to OG Iron Man, which was a silly fight considering that there were like pretty much no champions in the game that can take that fight on Acid Wash. So again, it just comes to show, in my opinion, that they don't check test, or if they did test it, they didn't take testers' feedback in consideration, because the way these modifiers were released, just bonkers. Like just realistically, only thing they managed to achieve within this week is make sure that a lot of people spent a lot of potions, and they pissed off a lot of people who tried them out. Now, there are obviously Kabam Keyboard Warrior Legion on forums saying, like, if you don't like these modifiers, you don't have to play them, stuff like that. And that is absolutely no excuse whatsoever at any time of the day to release shit, poorly designed nodes and content. The same argument could be said, like, if you didn't like Act 7, you didn't have to play it, or whatever. Or if you don't like Act 6, you don't have to play it. It's not quite as straightforward as simple, because quite often deciding what maps you will run for that day or week, or which modifiers, doesn't really fall on the members. It falls on the alliance leadership. You might not want to do it, but you also don't want to go through the hassle and the problems of leaving your friends and comrades and finding a new alliance. So there's a lot more involved other than just don't like it, don't play it. It's not a single individual's decision. There is a lot of camaraderie. This is a team mode. There is also the fact that you kind of have to play these no questions asked if you are quote unquote competing for the top 20, top 50 spots in AQ, because everybody else is going to be playing it. So anybody who says, oh, you don't like these modifiers, don't play them, can go and suck a big fat dick. But other than that, the changes that Kabam are making are definitely good ones, for sure. The only problem is, why the hell were they released in the first place? And Kabam, obviously, Kabam Mike came out with another kind of like post saying, like, I see a lot of talk about a roadmap, and these changes were in works months before this whole roadmap thing started. And that actually kind of got me confused. So you're telling me you can design this content months ago, and in the period of those months, not a single person figured to beta test it and try and run it through, or find an issue with an acid wash Hulkbuster. So I had all of these months to test it, prove it, check it, and alter it, and nobody did jack shit to fix things. So it's either or. Like, they can say it was designed a month before, therefore it might not reflect the ideas of roadmap, or you can say it was rushed and you didn't have time to test. But if you had the time to test, doesn't they, as a company, have some sort of duty of care, of due diligence, to actually try and complete the content that they are creating? But overall, I do find it kind of like funny that these modifiers in their current version lasted a whole week, and literally the first chance they are being toned down because everybody absolutely hates them. And I mean, not everybody, obviously. There are people who enjoy them. I personally enjoyed some of the modifiers, but I also realized it's not really a sustainable long-term solution, because when you do AQ, yes, there is a certain difficulty level that is required, but again, first thing in the morning, last thing when you go to the bed is typically what happens with AQ, and that is not the time when you want to flex your skill and solo Grandmaster. When you go in a Grandmaster fight, you're prepared for it, you're pumped up, you're at kind of like your best playing conditions, or at least you should be. But AQ is a daily chore. It's not a once in a year kind of challenge. So your approach to these game modes is completely different. And AQ will never and can never have as skill intensive and crazily difficult fights like Grandmaster Final Boss. That is a beautiful fight. That is very wonderful to deal with. But imagine if by natural progression here, every fight in AQ becomes a mini version of a Grandmaster fight. No, it will be an absolutely horrible time, because you do not want to do it 5 days a week, in the morning, in the evening. AQ have to obviously be difficult in order to differentiate alliance skills and player skills, but at the same time it has to be straightforward enough so you don't have to solve a crossword puzzle every single time you are picking a team for your path or you're trying to tackle a fight. So I think that is a very important thing to keep in mind. Also, in case of Sosei at the Doom, the node doesn't reflect Grandmaster fight in its fullest. It reflects the requirements, it reflects the demands, but there's absolutely no upside, no benefit from playing it, which could be changing slightly now with that Spectre node if we can sneak in a little bit of healing. But still, the whole idea in itself is that these nodes aren't rewarding, they are flat out punishing. And that is the one feedback they are getting. And even after these changes, even after these nerfs, these nodes do not reward the optimal play. They punish the suboptimal play, and thus making it feel quite a bit more miserable. But anyways, these are the changes. So yeah, Alliance Quest modifiers are getting nerfed after a week. Looks like it's going to be quite a bit more manageable and less stressful. So with that being said, I'm pretty much done. So here is a tiny baby Yoda for you because he's so adorable. Why don't you go ahead and hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this video to your friends, to your alliance mates. Let your officers know, post the video in the alliance chat. Let everybody know what's happening with Alliance Quest Epic Modifiers next week, and see ya.